Hello everyone. Hey guys, what's going on? As we're getting set up, everyone's getting in here, and we're just making sure that all of the technology works because it'd be like that sometimes. Oh, this is like sangria and cherry liqueur together.
Okay, there I am.
I was like, ooh, let me send that again.
Yeah, I hit accept and it wouldn't let me in, but
Well, we're good now. We're solid.
okay. We gotta get Mimi and Lena.
And then we will be all good. Oh,
Oh
there's
yeah.
Mimi. Okay, cool. This is my first time doing this like four people, so this should be interesting.
Yeah.
All right, I got it. My headphones. One of them always like refuses to connect, so let me just
My boyfriend's in here. What's up, Kenny?
try that again. Headphone. There we go. Cool, cool. And there's Lena. So now I
Okay. So they're loading.
what is going on?
You guys gotta hit the little camera icon in order for
I know, it's being a pain in the butt.
Ah, did I get? Oh, I did it right. Yay.
There.
and
There
there
we go. There we
yay!
go. Yay!
Hello, everyone. We managed to make that happen in
We
less
did
than
it!
5 minutes.
Oh, this is gonna fall. Hold on. I
But
gotta fix this. I
Okay,
gotta
you
stand
do
up.
your thing.
And it is exactly 7:30, which,
We did
to
it!
be
We
to
made
be
it on
early is to be
time!
on, if you say to be early is to be on time, my
to be on
Pisces ass
time
will
is to be
always
early.
be late. Like,
No, that's the mood. Hi guys, what's going on? It is indeed the witch clique, the Christian witch clique.
We
Oh
did
my god,
it!
I just got out of like my first cohort meeting. I actually joined the Order of Saint Hildegard's chaplaincy program, and so like I've just been like baton passing things to do today. But so I just got out of that. That was great. That was really interesting. And now I'm here trying to decompress.
A mood.
That's awesome.
it's
Right in
it's
time.
interesting. Ah, but here we all are to
We're all here.
discuss to discuss what is going on with us, who we are, and to introduce ourselves with our favorite Bible verses.
Mm-hmm.
I have a couple I couldn't pick, but I
Yeah.
blame the uh the Jesus word oracle deck that you told me about a long time ago, Lena.
Oh my
I
gosh, I need to
bought
get
it. I
I
bought
Oh
Oh
it.
also
hi
yeah.
everyone.
I also just want to put
Oh
it out
yes.
there for everyone who's watching us because we have people of like all different witchy walks of life
Oh yeah.
watching this. So like we're all Christian witches, but we're not here to evangelize. We're not here to tell you like what to believe or we're not. I know a lot of people here probably have like religious trauma and stuff. We're not here to do any of that. This is just for people who are just like curious or who hear like Christian witch, what's that? And you just want to
Right.
learn more about. That's what we're here to do. That's what we're about. And yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, especially
I
because
think
like. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, I think we've all been emotionally and religiously traumatized enough that the word evangelicize is just like an instant cringe. Like we
Yeah.
all made the thing.
Like yeah, fight or flight instantly, and all I've
Yeah,
got is
right.
fight. Sorry.
I remember I tweeted about this and some of my friends from Twitter who are on a completely different side were like, "Oh, I'll try to tune in." And I'm like, "I should probably put it out there that yes, we're going to be
That
talking about Jesus, but we're not trying to be those people. We're Christian
no, yeah.
witches."
This is
Yeah.
just because,
No.
like, I know that as we all goof on the Bible, I feel like I guess people might benefit from hearing Bible stories not told in a way that's all hellfire and brimstone, but instead more like, God's on his shit again. Like,
Yeah.
All
he's on
right,
his shit again.
but
uh,
Katie, I want you to know, I just saw the scroll. I want you to know that it is a mistranslation, and we will all get into why the Bible is against witches, but it's actually against like charlatans, poisoners, people who are intent to do ill.
Yeah.
I have to like hold up my sources for these things because like I have them all over here. But yeah, no. So Christian
See,
witches
I have my sources too, but they're like scattered all over the office. Like one of the books
I mean,
that I wanted to hold up is on the floor. I'm like, man,
all of us are just disasters.
I feel so unprepared. All I have is a Bible.
I just
all
have a
you need.
notebook.
All I have is a Bible that
I
I
have
got
my
while I was in my
grimoire.
cult.
And my writing notebook.
God.
Like, this is my writing notebook. So, isn't it shiny? Look,
It
I got
is
this
shiny.
from Walmart.
I do like it.
This isn't
Isn't it
actually. This
pretty?
isn't even a notebook. This is my planner, and there's like a note section in the back of my planner.
Yeah.
I was like,
Like a
oh
note,
wait, I
definitely.
gotta write these down. So
Somebody says we should call this meetup the Cauldron. Ooh, that's
that was my
interesting.
boyfriend. He's been like, you guys are all different witches in a pot together. You should call it the cauldron.
Oh my god, the melting no, specifically the melting cauldron. Jesus.
Yes, the melting pot.
I
saw
keep my
someone say,
keys
what
for
are
throwing in a cauldron.
yeah. Someone said, what are Christian witches? And I feel like all of us have very like different definitions of it. We all do it in a very different way. So
let's
we
do
want
that.
to
Let's all go around and talk about like what does Christian witchcraft mean to us? What does our practice look like? And we'll just kind of let's start with Sarah, our lovely host, whose idea this whole thing was, by the way, who just published her first book. Go buy her book.
Oh look, I
Oh,
actually
right
have
now,
that
it's
next
great.
to me.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you guys for getting that, by the way. Like, I saw you guys get it, and I was like, first of all, it's kind of weird, because, like, I sent them, and they were in my house, and then I see them show up on other people's videos from wherever, and I'm like, that's weird. But, yeah, I should go get my own copy over here and just put it in the back. But,
That's my birthday present. It's coming. My birthday is not yet, but I have been promised a book for my birthday.
I've definitely
one of my favorite things about it was that the font, like, this is so dumb, but the font is big enough that you can read it. Because my main gripes with books, like, nowadays is, like, the font is so small you can't read anything.
And especially, like, fantasy books. I call them, like, gas station books, because those really old-school fantasies are printed on, like, this font small. It's, like, 700 pages. You just want to jump off a bridge.
Yeah.
But before I start with my version of Christianity, someone did say, I've heard hell isn't biblical, but then Jesus seems to make so many references to hell. Jesus actually never says the word hell. He's talking about Gehenna, which was like a total dump of a town. Like, he was just like, y'all gonna end up in some backwater nonsense with the way you're acting. Like, he wasn't saying that you're going to hell.
Yeah, when people say, like, my life has gone to shit, it's a figure of speech. He was using a figure of speech.
Yeah, so Jesus being wicked shady, which he tends to do. So, but okay, yeah. So if we get into this, I guess my idea of Christian witchcraft is literally just like, God gave us muscles and God gave us brains, and these affect the physical world and all of the different, mental and like abstract challenges, but he gave us magic too to affect the spiritual world. And so as a Christian witch, my whole thing is using that power to connect to everything that is, everything that God made. And so I see, herbs and stones as partners, right? I see a lot of Christians say, oh, it's demonic to think the crystals can help you, when it's like, they are literally like little buddies, like they're little helping partners. It's like,
and they're
if
in
you have like a service dog. They're in the Bible, but like they're like having a service dog, where it's like, do you think your service dog is God? No, but it's still a really helpful tool if you need it. Like,
this little guy has been with me for so many years. This is my faithful court service dog.
it's emotional support
Junior.
course.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I view, all creation is things that God, in the Bible, God gives you dominion of the earth. Well, why then couldn't we ask it to help us out with little things here and there? Like, the oregano has a talent for joy and love. If you put it in your spaghetti, it can help a little bit. It's not going to be stronger than God. No one is saying that. But it is going to help out. Do you want to be the one logging the questions? Because I'll get up my own ass and then, like, forget people are asking me.
Well, we really need to. We need to like do like post videos where we ask people what are your questions, and then
do like a Q&A like that way.
This is our first one. Everyone watching this is our first time doing this, so we're still kind of figuring out how we're gonna do it. but we'll
Yeah,
figure it
same.
out as we go.
Yeah, this is introduction to chat and chill. But I don't
Yeah.
know what your guys' box looks like, but for me the next one is Hannah. So I don't know
Yeah, that's
Right.
I'm kind of going around. Why
Yeah, there's
I have
you and then
Last.
Hannah and then me under Hannah and then Mimi.
I don't know
if
why
okay,
it's
all right,
saying
cool.
I have 10 coins now because I swear I started with 0 and I don't know how any of this works. But
I don't know what
uh
that is.
so I'm
Who
I'm
knows what it
Hannah.
is?
I am also a Christian witch. I grew up in a really spiritual family, but it was very evangelical Christian family that was like scared of things being demonic. But I was like encouraged to talk to angels and that kind of stuff when I could see it. So I feel like that really enhanced like my clairvoyance and clairaudience from a very young age, psychic abilities from a very young age, just from being encouraged. And certain denominations of Christianity teach that Jesus doesn't talk back, or God, like I feel like Catholicism, and correct me if I'm wrong, is very much in that way. Like you can talk to God, but he doesn't talk back. That's not how I was raised, though. I was raised that Jesus talks back and you need to listen. So I was always just very open to hearing all of those things from a very young age and being like, what kind of signs is God sending me? And then it turns out witches ask themselves the same things with other deities. And then I read books about Christian witchcraft and Christo-paganism, and I have my thoughts and opinions about the pagan gods. I have nothing against the pagan gods. I love the pagan gods. I have some pagan gods in my space, but just through learning more about them and feeling comfortable with, okay, how can I balance? Why do I have 20 coins now? What is happening? I don't know what the coins are, but
We're all just
through just finding a balance between like, okay, I can have Jesus in my space and I can also have Loki in my space, and it turns out they're kind of buddies. Um, so just that has been a really fulfilling part of my practice, and that's a really dumbed down short version of my practice, and maybe I'll write it all down one day. But that's me. So let's below me is Lena. I don't know if that's how you guys see it,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, I think we all have the same.
okay.
Okay, is it my turn then?
Yeah.
Okay. So hi, my name's Lena. I don't necessarily call myself a Christian witch. I prefer the term Jesus witch because I don't um believe the doctrines of Christianity, and I think like to be a Christian, you have to like fundamentally believe the doctrines of
True.
Christianity. So I consider myself like just to be a witch who works with Jesus, and I honestly, I kind of have a very Christian view of the world, but I don't again consider myself to be a Christian because I don't believe in the fundamental doctrines of Christianity. Um, my practice is very laid back and chaotic. I have two kids that I homeschool, so like my life is just. I mean, Mimi has four kids that she homeschools, so
Oh my
she's got it
goodness.
even like doubly chaotic. But my practice is more so like checking the Bible app every day, and like trying to check in with Jesus with tarot cards, and being in prayer a lot. Like I talk to Jesus a lot as like I view him more as like a spirit guide than like a deity.
That's a
Although I work with him like a deity, I just kind of see him more in that aspect. But yeah, I also like like Hannah, I have a couple or I have one pagan god in my practice, Loki. Because I have again my kid, he's one of my little one is the incarnation of chaos. So like Loki wanted to be a part of that. Um, so yeah, I guess you could kind of describe me as like a chaos witch. I just go with the flow, and I don't know. That's it. There. Oh wait, maybe I should have said I was raised Roman Catholic, but I got kicked out of my church because like I asked too many questions and I was being bullied at the time. So like they were like, "You cause problems, so you can leave." Which is
wow.
it's what it's fine. Like I love my home church. Like I still go back there. Like it's okay. Well, that bridges whatever. But then I went to evangelical churches myself after being kicked out of the Catholic Church, and I winded myself up in a Christian cult with a couple of my friends from high school. They were raised in it, and I just followed them there, kind of thing. But yeah, that's kind of how I ended up to this point of being religiously traumatized enough to be a Jesus witch.
Love that.
Yeah.
Mimo.
No, literally though. Okay, like I was also Catholic, but my mom wanted me to do confirmation, and I was like, why do I need to have them confirm that I'm Catholic? I gave all the shit, and then I heard that the priest was talking a bunch of shit about the LGBTQ community, and I was
I
like, Mom, I want to get confirmed. Mom, I want to get confirmed. She's like, you're just gonna fight with the priest. No, and I was like. So I wasn't
Right.
allowed to get confirmed because they knew I was gonna punch the priest in the head as soon as I got in there.
Yeah. I
God.
was right
But
before I got confirmed too. So you and I same same face.
but Mimi, what's going on with you and your practice? What's it look like?
All right. So, as the resident crone of our group, I am what is considered a hereditary witch. So, my great grandma, my Meemaw, and my little Memaw are Appalachian and Ozark folk practitioners. And if
Wow.
you've ever heard of Granny Magic or Granny Witchin', that's where we started. So, Irish, Scottish, and German influence when they immigrated to the United States. And they kind of have a hodgepodge of just, basically kind of sticking it to the man by using the Bible and being like, yeah, sure, we'll use your Bible, but we're going to use it for magic because kiss my ass. So, um, so I learned a lot of healing. And when I started like herbalism and things like that, my whole hi, everybody knows what a granny witch is. That's so awesome. It's so hard to find people who know what that is now. But um, so and the funny part is my mother and father, Southern Baptist and Pentecostal, and my grandfather and grandmother, like directly, were also. He was a Pentecostal pastor, so I have had to handle snakes, and I have had hands laid on me, and I have had an exorcism. That is a story for another time. But um, the more I realized that what Meemaw and Lil Mamaw were talking about was that God gave these things to us on the earth, and we were taught how to use them for good, for God. God shows us what's here in nature. God shows us here herbs and rocks and all kinds of things, and if you just pray about it a little bit, it'll be okay. So I have been as I have been growing through it, and when I left the church, because how dare I ask about why can't we use, for my first question when I was like 7, I remember distinctly being put in the back with a bar of soap in my mouth because I asked, why do we care about men and women being together and being trans and all that thing, the different, if God is man and woman? If we both came from him, why does it matter? We don't ask questions like that. So I'm just kind of like, yes, Old Gods of Appalachia is one of the best things to look at for like the folklore behind it. And as I've gotten older, I'm teaching my kids the stories, the culture, because as a folk practitioner, the biggest part is taking those stories and the culture and learning where do these traditions come from, where do these practices come from, what are all these superstitions, because superstitions are half the magic. There is no difference between, like Sarah was saying earlier, there was no real difference between magic and miracle, because if you're calling on God, it's all the same.
Mm-hmm.
So I've kept up with it, whether I want to or not. Anne Reagan has picked me because she has followed my family for a very long time. So while God, I call him Adonai. Well, Adonai and Asherah are always going to be the top. They come first. I have always practiced with other pagan gods and angels and demons and all kinds of fun stuff, but I guess the closest thing I ascribe to Christianity, because I'm more like Lena being a Jesus witch, because I don't adhere to modern Christianity and evangelical Christianity. I adhere to Jesus was a pretty good guy. Let's all relax and be groovy and love one another. And then the more I get into the actual culture of the Bible, as well as what my family has learned and brought over, the more I realized, yeah, there's a lot more going on here than just the big G. So that's where I am now.
Love that.
Dang, and that's all of us. That's I feel
Yeah.
like I.
That's
You know
all
what's
of
funny? I call them vanilla Christians, but I'm like, dang, I'm like the most vanilla one here because I'm just like, God's cool. Although, in fairness, I've gone did some spiritual tourism at this point, so I've just been like click in everyone's space. I've
Oh
been
my
like, oh hey
god.
Odin, hey
But you
Thor,
it.
like
Yeah.
do
what's
like
up?
the interviews with the entities. Like you're out here interviewing saints and demons and pagan gods. Like you're out like you have like the gall in a good way to walk up to King Asmodeus with your whole chest and be like, so tell me about yourself. That's
Well,
Yeah.
awesome.
in fairness, I can't do King Asmodeus because I feel like I'm not gonna like he's gonna look at me and I'm gonna be like, Raphael was in the right, and then it's gonna be all over. It's gonna be
Oh my god, Sarah!
I'll be like, fight me, bud. Sorry, you take the L on that one.
Oh
my
god.
god.
Oh.
He gets so sad about that.
And I'm just like, I really do feel like Raphael was standing there like, what did you think was gonna happen though? Like,
No, it wouldn't have been
but
practical, but still. I understand, but he gets so sad.
that's why I'm like, I respect your opinion, bud. But your sir, your L, I'm sorry, like
Just don't talk about Sarah or Asmodeus is Sarah, other Sarah. Just don't talk about her. We
That's
don't
why
need
it's
to
like
talk about her.
So I won't bring it up unless he does, and I hope he doesn't.
Be like, what'd you say? I heard what
I'd be
you
like,
said.
do you want me to lie to you? Like, I'm not gonna lie.
Sarah!
Sorry.
Nope.
That's
This is
why I'm
how
like,
you
there's
get
some
haunted
spirits
by
that
a demon.
there's some spirits that I just kind of like, because I know that like we're gonna get to a topic that I'm gonna be like,
Buttheads.
well, again, I'm not gonna lie to you, so sorry. That's why I'm just like, we'll just leave him be. We'll just not.
Oh
Gonna be
my.
Apollo 2.0 at that point.
So wait, what are you what's your big three, Sarah?
I mean, honestly, like it's just me and God directly.
No,
like,
I mean
I
like
vibe with-
zodiac signs. Oh my god.
Oh,
Your
okay.
sun, moon,
Okay.
and rising.
I don't know my
yeah.
big three. I know I'm a Leo, but I don't know I wrote them down somewhere. I don't know where they are.
You know, when I tell you my big three and my Mercury, it'll make sense. I'm a Sagittarius rising, a Virgo sun, a Sagittarius moon, and a Virgo Mercury. So I'm just like, would you like
Yeah.
unfiltered truth
Yeah.
with absolutely no consideration for your feelings? Hi.
Yeah.
Some of us really need that, though. Come on now, let's be honest. Some of us need that
Fair enough, fair enough.
niceness.
Well, let's
I'm a.
some of
I was
our
gonna say I'm a Pisces
verses.
sun, Leo moon, Taurus rising, and my Mercury is Aquarius. So
Oh, you're all over the
I
place.
don't know if I like something or not. I'm just gonna sit here till somebody says something, pretty much.
So
You
I'm
have
a Taurus.
food? Okay, then
Yeah.
that's all I care about.
I'm a Taurus sun and a Taurus moon and a Taurus Venus all conjunct each other, but then I'm a Scorpio rising with an Aries Mercury in retrograde. So
Oh my gosh.
So we're always fighting. Everyone's fighting.
let's tussle. That's why I have to check
Oh, okay.
myself all the time.
I
have to be like,
have
don't be a
my
bitch.
whole chart written down somewhere, and I can't remember any of it. I know I'm a Leo. That's what I know.
Leos are the best. Leos are the best.
We'll find it
Leo.
somewhere. We'll get it. Also,
I know where
Hannah, I'm like,
I need to have Kenny bring me my basket or something.
Hannah, I'm watching your face, and I feel like I just made you nervous because I know you have King Asmodeus in your space.
No. He's super friendly. That's the weird thing. So like, we'll get into like our Bible verse. I know we're talking like we're all like Christian witches, Christo pagans, and we want to talk about how we can use the Bible to justify our craft, right?
Right.
But ironically, Asmodeus is super friendly. And you wouldn't think so with the religious trauma and being like, you can't be a Christian witch and have demons in your space. Bet.
Oh no,
You can.
Listen,
Two sides to the
Lucifer?
same coin. Two sides to the same coin. Can't have
Like
one
they
without
work
the other.
together.
They
They
do.
work
They
better
do.
together. And like okay, it's like for me it's like Michael and Lucifer are like my boys. Like they are my boys. You know, and
My
Lucifer's so like patient.
my boy.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I got Michael in the gym, I got Lucifer in the study. Like it's just it works that way. I don't know.
And Gabriel.
Oh yeah. Mimi's having Gabriel drama because the man's has no chill.
He
He's the most chill
doesn't.
angel and he's still not chill.
Well, see,
He's
that's
like,
the thing with Gabriel is he's so friendly at first. Like you first
yes.
and you're like, oh, Gabriel, oh, this is such the perfect archangel. And then wham!
It's like, be not afraid, be not afraid, be not afraid, be not afraid. I'm here now.
Yeah. No, I mean he shows up and he's smiling, but behind him he's got like a frying pan. He's like, guess what?
He is Rapunzel.
I feel really unique because like angels don't necessarily come in my space. The only one I ever had, like this is kind of a depressing story, but the only one I've ever had was Michael, and he was in my space when I was like rear-ended by the drunk driver. He kind of like had an involvement in making sure we all walked away from that, you know.
my
But
God.
you know, then after that whole thing, like after like the intensity of it stopped, he left my space. Not had an angel since.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not like I feel like more I almost feel more like a pull towards like the Roman gods and like them being in my space more like half of my family's Italian, so if you go back ancestral wise,
Makes sense.
obviously
Right.
I almost feel like Venus and like Lucifer have been in my space recently.
Yes.
But
And Diana is just a vibe.
yeah, well, that's a whole other place, but
That and like, I'm not even Catholic, but I've got Saint Anastasia now, which is something I need to like talk to somebody
that's the
about.
thing. I get saints. Yes, there you go.
Oh yeah,
Like
yeah.
Saint
you have all
Anastasia.
this.
Who are you?
What did I get from Christianity?
That's like the one area I haven't dipped into.
I got this motherfucker.
I have Loki.
Oh
have
my word,
Aries.
this dude.
I have the god of war in my space. But Saints, it's like, no, maybe later.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. No, it's fine.
My favorite thing, I don't know why. I'm such an astrologer. Every time I try to write Aries, I do the sign. I constantly be like corrected. They're like, no, it's just an E. And I'm like, no, there's an I there. It's like, no, that's the
Wait,
same.
hold on. We gotta pause because people are asking us things.
I
And
know.
stuff
One
in here.
What?
Twitter, I'm trying to be like, wait, I'm sorry.
Sorry. I'm sorry, guys.
We're
first
too
de-
excited. This is our first time doing this.
It
Someone,
is, we're all in the same
how
space.
do you know
Um,
if you have other like deities in your space? For me, it came to me in a dream, so that was the most obvious thing.
Interesting.
Loki sent me lots of bugs. Those are like the main thing. And I was raised Christian, so when I wanted to come into the paganism space, I wanted to leave even evangelism behind, but I'm like, Jesus is still cool, so he can come with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair.
Jesus
That's
is just
fair.
there like a chaperone.
Sarah, you're
like,
gonna have
hey.
to do a TikTok story time about you and Raphael. People are confused.
I made a video about Asmodeus once. If you guys type demonolatry into TikTok, a video of me talking about King Asmodeus, and
I saw that. That's why I was like, I saw that perspective of King Asmodeus, and I'm like, I feel bad. I still think Raphael's. It's just like, because the girl needs physical dick. She needs physical dick. She can't have metaphysical dick.
can be
I'm sorry, bud.
Sarah can be true at the same time. She needed to be with a human, but it made Asmodeus very sad.
We're talking about this
I-
in front of a Bible. Oh my lord.
If he just flipped into
I
like
work
a,
with Mary
like, I don't know, if he just found a physical form, it probably would have been fine. Maybe. But hold on, someone said. Anyway, that's just my very heated opinion that like,
Yo, that's
let a girl live.
so fucking great. Honestly, you're so real for that, Sarah. For real.
Although Raphael is the only angel that's truly like unnerved me. Now I see why people get like scared, like I don't know, uncomfortable with Virgos, because he was the most Mercury energy I've ever experienced in my life. And I was like, I need you to stop, please.
And you would think the angel of healing would be a little more like
No. Bedside manner, who? Like, no.
Let's see.
Loki.
So,
Someone asked if
a
we
ton of
use
spiders.
Lilith sends me a lot
Lady
of spiders.
Hal, the Morgan.
I
Yeah.
get physical sensations.
Specifically for Anne Regan, we use she's got three, and I know Babs and Nemine and or Neon, and there's another one I can't remember, but usually it's Bab that's sending the spiders. Also, I work with Mary Magdalene. I don't know if anybody else does. That was a question up there. And then let's see what else.
Just stab my
Do
foot.
we use any Solomonic magic or alchemy in your craft? I don't want to invoke and control angels. Are you fucking kidding me? They scare the shit out of me. I would take Leviathan as like my head spirit guide over an angel in my control.
Oh my
Just
gosh.
I would.
No.
It's
For me,
also
yeah,
like, I don't know, the Bible talks a lot about like free will, so taking free will from another entity to me kind of seems contradictory towards like what a
yeah.
Christian or Jesus witch should be doing. I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
I mean, and like for me, it's just like you don't get as like good a connection because it just feels like you're automatically coming in bad faith. Like you're trying to put him in a box and make him dance for you, and it's like I just wanted to ask you a question.
It's also
Have a
Solomonic
potato.
magic is hard. It's
Yeah,
That too.
it is. Hang on. I got it. What? My phone's gonna
What?
wiggle a little bit, but hang on a second, because I'm in my bed. And I've got one of those nest beds, and it's like
Oh,
turtle trying to get the fuck up. Hang on. So
A
one of the
mood.
things that I do, I don't have Solomonic magic, but when I want to talk to the angels, I actually have the Angel Tarot. So this is how I found out. I found out my guardian angel the other day, by the way, Sarah, when I was doing this. And instead of, and I use this as part of my bibliomancy too, because it has in the book that Travis McHenry wrote is the actual passages that correspond with the angel. So like, and of course at the top, Mikhail always scares the shit out of me.
oh
He always
boy.
pops up. This
He's
one
my
is my
favorite. I
guardian
love him.
angel. So
Really?
yep,
Damn.
this one is he's like unto God, and this is the one I keep pulling, and it's scary. And Gabriel again, fucking.
Boy hears this kind of shit. He's just like, hello, good morning.
He's like, hello, don't forget about me. I'm also on your team, whether you like it or not. Like,
Come with me.
Oh.
And my guardian angel's specialty is helping people get energy from arguing. Can we take a minute? Because
That is so Sagittarius of you.
that is
What the hell?
I heard this and I was reading this and I was like, everyone leave, everyone get out of here. Like, I need a moment. I can't, because I will fight everyone, like, for fun. So that's why I'm like, well, this explains it. So wait, hold on. Bree said, isn't the devil evil and an enemy of God?
No.
No.
Satan
See, here's
literally just translates to adversary. That
Go
could
read the
Yeah.
book of Job and then answer that question.
well, I mean, like,
Look-
it's a fair question because everyone's like, oh, the devil. The reality is,
demonolators do worship the like
He's
Emperor Satan as the demon. So then it goes into, it means adversary. Are the infernals just egregores? We could get really existential about this, but I don't know if we have the time.
yeah.
So
no,
I've had-
for me, it's just like, oh, sorry, hold on. I just feel like for me, it's just like, again, like adversary. Like it's a title God gives to His own angels because sometimes God likes to kind of shake it up. He likes to stir the pot and kick the beehive, and He's just like, are humans doing the good thing? And then actually, I love the story of Job because Satan, like the angel wearing the same title, rolls up to God and is like, I think Job's a bitch, and I think we should test him. And
Yeah.
God's like, sounds awesome. So then they're just like, they just play a game of how bad can we screw Job's life up, and then Job's like, I still love God, and God's like, eat shit, bud.
I love the story of Job so much. When I was in my cult, and like this is horrible, but when I was in my cult, when my friends would always like, just cash. They would
back in the day.
they would compare me to Job because like shit constantly would happen to my life, and like I would always be like, why was I even born? And Job would do the same thing, and they're like, Lena, you're just having a Job moment. And then you know what? Looking back, I really
Hashtag
was having
Job
a
You
Job
were.
That
moment.
is like witches telling us you're just having a tower moment. It's fine. Like, it's the same fucking thing.
But
All right, I need like a
wait, somebody
Bible.
asked about familiars. I want to talk about familiars. I believe in
Oh,
them. Do you guys have a familiar? I have a familiar. My
yes,
cat
I
Bowser.
do.
He's my familiar. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, your pets can't be your familiar. And I actually do believe this. I believe that, like, normally your pets can't be your familiar unless you get them through a different means. Like, you don't seek out the animal, right? So Bowser was just given to me. Like, he was like, we had adopted Saul. We have two cats. We have Saul and Bowser. So Saul, again, this motherfucker constantly sneaking in my life, even with my cat's name before I started working with him. But so we got Saul and we adopted him, and like a couple of days later, like the people that I adopted him from were like, hey, his like foster mate's really depressed, won't eat anymore. Any chance you'll take this cat too? And I'm like, hell yeah, I'll take this cat. And that's like literally like he like is so in tune with me. He like will come with me if I'm doing tarot readings. Granted, Saul, who's a black cat, when I'm doing like Lilith readings, he's right up in that shit. He likes the Lilith stuff. But Bowser likes everything else, and I feel like that's like, I feel like with a familiar, especially like a live familiar who's like your pet, it's again you get them through like a means that is free. Like it's not like
Yeah.
something where there's money being exchanged or you're seeking out this animal. It's like very much a coincidental thing. And two, like I feel like they're very, very, very in tune with like who you are and like your personality, and like if I'm upset, like he's with me. Like when I was having like a lot of trouble like sleeping for a while, and he was like sleeping with me to try to like keep me in bed and like whatnot. He's like very in depth like that. um I almost think like this is maybe like really like woo woo, but I almost think that my dog before he died like kind of went to spirit and like picked this cat for me to like get, you know. So it's like he's a really sweet little cat. So I don't know. What are your guys' familiars? I love familiars.
Yeah.
They're so
So
sweet.
So,
my
oh,
friend was actually in the comments asking, like, what is a familiar? So a familiar is like an animal spirit, but they can be in like spirit guide form, or they can personify as an actual animal. I know there's like a whole witch talk debate, like your familiar can't be your pet. It's not a real animal. I think it could be either or.
Yeah.
But this was
I honestly, okay, so I have a take on that. I think for people who need a tangible thing of spirit, it will be a physical animal. Like I'm a Taurus. If I don't see it, I don't believe it kind of thing. So like
yep.
for me having that animal that's like right in front of me that I can like see a spiritual connection through helps me believe more in spirit. So like I need that physical thing. But for somebody who's more of like a, like able to believe in like, spirits that they can't see, or like it's just easier for them in that sense, they might not get something that's like tangible like a pet.
Well, so
Yep.
speaking of a spiritual thing, and I'm gonna just say right here for anyone who might be uncomfortable, I'm gonna show bones. So if that's not your thing, just look away for a second. 3, 2, 1. This is Chloe. This
Hi. Oh, sorry.
and
I wasn't
obviously
expecting it to be named Chloe.
spirit
Like
form, right? She was ethically sourced. I made sure that like the seller got her like humanely and ethically sourced. Like she had already passed away before they, got the bones and everything. So everything, animal related in my practice is in humane source, right? But I had a really hard time connecting with my toe bones in my osteomancy practice because it was hard for me to like really personify that this is an animal that had a soul and something that I could connect to. So, my boyfriend did apparently. So to help me better connect with the fox spirit, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna get myself a skull. She does come apart. But so that is again speaking of like having something physical or tangible that you can connect with, meditating with this before doing my osteo. Let me tell you something. My osteomancy to do like 5 bone throws used to take me like an hour because the bones were just stubborn and didn't want to give me the answers. Now my time's like cut in half from being able to connect with the spirit now that I have something to personify it as. It's really cool.
That's pretty cool. Mimi, did you also have a familiar experience? I just want to make sure we
I
get to everyone
I
who our
do. I
own
have a
stuff is fun.
couple. So I have a couple. My grandmother, and this is gonna be like, oh, but you get it. No, she had a raven's skull, and it was with her Bible, but now all of that is gone. But I always end up having them. It's how I knew about the connection to the Moravian. But I have always ended up with random black animals, rabbits, cats, Jasper, my dog, my giant big doofy boy. We weren't even supposed to be getting him. We were supposed to be getting a completely different animal from the shelter, but they were like, "Oh, that one got adopted an hour ago. Sorry, have this one." And I'm like, "Okay," because he was a rescue from a Texas puppy mill and everything. And I was just like, "This dog is gonna have so many issues." But he fell asleep like instantly in my lap, and anytime I'm upset, he's always near me. He's very protective and guarding of me, and anytime I do anything, um, like intuition based, so if I'm trying to discern through dreams or discern through meditation or anything like that, he is at my door, guarding my door, no matter what I'm doing. So I'm like, okay. And also because God gave us steward over animals, I feel like he's not my familiar and I'm forcing him. He is a kindred spirit that is helping kind of like watchdog me and guard me
Yeah.
in a physical sense from any kind of energy that might want to muck with my day.
Mm-hmm.
So, but
I
I
feel
had
like
a black rabbit
the only
before
one
that and a cat.
I'm the only one that's
Always
never
black.
had a familiar. I had like a cat, but he was just my bro. I have budgies, but they're kind of too dumb to be familiars. In fairness, like they're really stupid birds.
So, so our original plan. So the four of us are in a group chat, and we've been talking about like what are we gonna do, like the first stream, the first episode, and we just wanted to do like a basic chill hangout. We'll have like more concrete topics as time comes, but we wanted to talk about our favorite Bible verses, and I think it's so funny that you be raised Christian and take elements of it into your adulthood. But then when someone asks you, what's your favorite Bible verse? You suddenly can't think of any Bible verse ever. Like, I consider myself to be pretty versed, but one of my answers was pretty easy for me because I do have it tattooed on me.
That's
So
a
one
great
of
way
my,
to remember it.
yeah, right. So the meaning has changed for me quite a bit because I got it on me when I was 17 and I was still an evangelical. And God bless my dad, who was a priest for the Church of Satan, who was like, yes, I will. He's a tattoo artist. It was like, yes, I will tattoo a Bible verse on you. Um, my dad's awesome, but mine is John 1:5, which says, the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness does not overcome it. And my definitions of light and dark have changed a little bit
Yeah.
as I enter my witchy practice, but I take it more from a mental health standpoint. I, had a lot of issues with anxiety and depression at the time that I got, the tattoo, and now I have PTSD and a whole mess of other issues. So more so from like a mental health standpoint, it's one of those like it's always darkest before the dawn kind of verses. But it's true though. Just the idea of like, you know what? At the end of the day, the light, however you want to define that, will prevail, and there's always a way out.
Yeah.
And we can talk about like witchy specific Bible verses because there's so much witchy shit in the Bible that crunchy Christians just don't want to talk about. But in terms of like the one that like just grabs my heartstrings the most, it's that one.
Hold on, wait, sorry, pause. Here's Kaylee saying Satanism isn't what you all think it is, and I want to ask real quick, what do you think we think Satanism is?
Right? My dad is a priest.
Considering,
No, I'm going to say that again for emphasis. My dad is a priest for the Church of Satan. I have the Satanic Bible on my shelf. My dad knows the high priest. I promise. He texts Peter Gilmore. I know what Satanism is.
sorry.
Oh my god.
I'm just wondering because I'm just like, do you guys think because we're Christians we think Satanists are bad, or do you think that, or maybe you're on the other thing where it's like you think Satanism is a bad thing? Do you think Satanism is a bad thing? I don't.
No, Satanists are so cool. Talk about how there
So,
are a ton of religions where it specifically says do not harm children, and their doctrine does for them. So, yeah.
That's a step up
Well,
above Christianity, where in there, certain whatchamacallit denominations will preach that in the Bible it says you need to hit your kids in order for them to listen. So
Someone
taken
yeah,
complete
I
out of
thank
context.
you.
Satanic Bible.
Thanks, Greg,
I,
for bringing that up. There are differences.
someone was asking where you can buy the Satanic Bible. I bought it for $7 at Books a Million. I'm not even fucking
yeah,
kidding.
it's literally. I found
You
it on
can just
Barnes and Noble
it's
shelf.
the Satanic Bible by Anton LaVey. There's a difference between Church of Satan and Satanic Temple. They're two different parties. But the one that
And
I'm
the
talking
Luciferians.
about by Anton LaVey, you can get it literally anywhere.
Yeah, so that's why it's like, Kaylee, I'm not sure if that's how you say your name, but Kaylee, if you're a pagan and you think Satanism is bad, that just tells me you gotta unpack some stuff you haven't unpacked. That's all there is to it.
Yep.
Now,
There, I don't know who that is, but is there non-problematic, like, is there problematic stuff in, like, the Founders? I mean, there's problematic, your faves are all problematic.
Yeah.
Everybody's
Everybody's
got some kind of
problematic at
problem.
the end of the day.
Like,
Wait.
Nobody's
Well,
perfect.
like the thing with the Satanic Bible, it was written in the 60s, and there's some outdated 60s language. But for the 60s, Anton LaVey was extremely progressive for his time. And the Church of Satan was actually one of the first religious sects to perform same sex marriages. They weren't legal, but still, the sentiment is there. So I don't know. I can take it as a product of the times. Like there's certain things you read like, okay, well, maybe wouldn't say that today, but for 1969, that was probably super woke. So
oh,
all right.
boy. God bless you, bud. I know about occultism far more than you all do.
Okay.
now
There.
if
Bless your
Anyway,
heart, baby. It's
That's
okay.
just a
It's
person you just gotta
okay.
salute and let go. Bye. Like,
yeah,
for
God
real.
bless you.
And even if it
Okay, we're
is,
just
then
gonna.
that's Satanism. This is not the topic for what we're doing right now, and we're not even
Yeah, so I'm not really.
evangelizing any of the aspects. So let's go for a different one.
Yeah, which
Um,
Bible study? We're defending Satanism. Hold
All right,
on.
who wants to go next
do
and share
you
their
me?
favorite
but
Because I have
you
two.
know,
I
Bible
want
verse?
to go.
all right,
Okay.
there is one more thing. Someone said, "Do you believe in all gods existing at the same time?" Yes, I'm a
Yeah.
henotheist. I believe God's like top dog, and then everyone else still exists and is important.
I believe that it's important for cultural aspects to be able to see it through the lens, especially when you see all of, not only syncretism, but you see so many different cultures have very similar stories.
Yep.
Every culture has God set up as that culture needs it.
But I mean, is it kind of like,
Listen,
well,
listen.
it's like McDonald's, right? You got your CEO of
Bless
McDonald's,
your
and then you've
heart.
got like each chain doing its own kind of thing in a way.
I
Like
want to know
Chinese
who this
McDonald's isn't the
person
same
is
as
that
American
they're
McDonald's.
so upset with us right
for
now.
me,
Oh my goodness, are we getting an angry person on our live? That's amazing. Anyway, so
I'm
back
not.
to the Bibles. I got a
inspired.
cranky baby. Back to the Bible story.
Crazy baby.
So I have two, and like Hannah, the first one is absolutely, it has changed for me over time. So when I first started having children and I started leaning back into the church because it was very much I don't know what the hell I'm doing and I have no community anymore. So I was like, I'm gonna go back to church, and that was a bad fucking idea. But I digress. So Luke 1:45, blessed is she who has believed what the Lord has told her would happen. So to me, it was, this is God saying that, yes, I can have a family. Yes, I have a community. This is coming. And now what I see is that the promises that God made to me a long time ago, the promises that He made to me under my faith and through my works of faith and through my walk in this path, is blessing me more and more the more that I lean into it. So not necessarily like, this is me and my Christian path. But the more I believe in what God has promised me, and the more that I believe in the blessings that He is imparting to me, is that is where it's doubling and tripling. And the other one is Mark 4:11, which is, unto you it is given to know the mysteries of the kingdom of God. That actually really pushes me with my the magic and the miracles, because through Pentecost, if we all have the same through the Holy Spirit, then it is divinely blessed for us to know the mysteries of the kingdom of God. And that is important.
And there's so many mysteries to learn. It's so
Oh
fun.
God, yeah.
I don't think we'll know them
That's a
all. I
great
really
verse.
don't.
I want to know.
No, you're not going to learn them all in your lifetime. That's just, but that's like
You
the
got to
beauty
take
of it
multiple trips back.
Mark 4:11. Now I have two different versions. I have the Jewish Study Bible. I have the living version, and the King James version.
You said it
Because
was
I can't
Mark
find
4:11.
Mark 4:11.
I like that.
I am. I'm trying to figure out a way to make it into a bumper sticker for the On Earth as It Is in Heaven theme that Lena has. And I want to turn Mark 4:11 into a big bumper sticker that's very witchy and really confusing people because I have Catholics and Lutherans around me. So
Someone was asking like if we can restate these verses, but I also just want to let everyone watching this know that this is going to be posted to Sarah's YouTube channel when we're done streaming. Yep. So if we say anything and we forget to respond to something or, anything like that, or there's a reference that you're like, wait, go back, and then we miss your comment to go back, it'll be on Sarah's YouTube within a few days. So if there's anything that you miss or want to go back to, you will be able to watch this back again.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
Sarah, would you like to share your favorite Bible verse?
Yeah. So some cringy backstory for mine. Actually, the first time I heard it was when I was watching Van Helsing with like Hugh Jackman in it.
God, I love that movie.
It's so
Dracula does things to me. I'm not even gonna lie.
That is my favorite Dracula to this day. I'm like, no one can ever. No, don't talk to me about Dracula unless it's that one. But it was when Frankenstein's monster was attached to the table and he's yelling in the middle of the party, and it's it's Psalm 23:4. Though I walk through the shadow of the valley of death, I shall fear no evil. That's been my favorite. My Bible doesn't say it right. It has to have that language, shadow of the valley of death, because it's so metal. It's dead, okay? Like, through the shadow of the valley of death, I fear no evil. Like, that's kind of like signifies my path because, or not valley of evil, the valley of death, because it's like, it doesn't matter how dark and scary the path is. Like, I've got God, and I'm just gonna, like, sprint down it. Like, we're going.
That's a great one. That's a great verse. Okay, so mine's longer. I'm sorry. So I'm going in 2 Corinthians 12:7 through 10. So obviously this was written by my boy, St. Paul. And I just really love this verse, but let me read it. So it says, and because of the surpassing greatness of the revelations, for this reason, to keep me from exalting myself, there was given to me a thorn in my flesh, a messenger of Satan to me, a buffet to me to keep me from exalting myself. Concerning this, I prayed to the Lord 3 times that it might depart from me. And he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is perfected in weakness. Most gladly, therefore, I will rather boast about my weaknesses than the power of Christ may dwell in me. Therefore, I am well content with weakness, with insults, with distress, with persecutions, with difficulties, for Christ's sake. For when I am weak, then I am strong. So I personally like this verse for a multitude of reasons. One, I am a chronically ill person. I was like literally born sick. So my whole entire life, my whole entire life I've been dealing with just being like a very like physically weak feeling person and not feeling like strong with my body. And then obviously like, mental health issues and stuff. But I've also like taken this, it's really, for me, it's a big like chronic pain verse because I'm in pain 24/7. So for me, it's like I'm always feeling weak. I always feel like I can't move, like I can't do anything. So instead of like sitting there and dwelling in that, I do something that I feel like God is really pulling me to do. So I feel like this is like a big life verse for me. But then specifically towards the end where it says, I'm well content with weaknesses, with insults, with distress. That I really like attribute at this point to TikTok and the amount of like hate comments I get. I block like maybe like 10, 15 people a day because of all the bullshit that they put on my videos. So, it doesn't concern me because I know that like it's promised to me right here that I'm going to be insulted for what I do. And I just got to roll with the punches and keep on going. So that's why, like I get a lot of the time, like why I don't, fight back at trolls. That's why, because,
Yeah.
Oh no, it's bad. My boyfriend's like, "Why are you always arguing with people?" And I'm like, the amount of people I argue with on my page is like a fraction of the amount that I just block because I'm like, I don't got time
I
for absolute bullshit.
I have received actual death threats for what I
me
do.
too.
I'm sure you all have. If you haven't, you'll
Damn.
get there.
Rite of
Especially
passage.
a
I
lot of
think, I
people
don't know,
like
if Sarah and Mimi haven't gotten them yet, I think it's because you and I don't know what it is about us. It's probably that, like, I don't know
or
what it is.
I mean, I've gotten angry white men, but for the most part, no. Like,
Oh
and
my God.
I don't know what it is. Do you guys cleanse your phone? Like, honestly, who
Yeah,
do you
I
cleanse your
literally,
phone?
like,
Like,
I
okay,
probably
I smoke cleanse my phone constantly.
I probably
Because,
no,
should.
no, we're
That's a
not.
good idea. I should do
Forrest,
that.
Forrest. It's an in general thing of like we've gotten those kind of death threats, and we make a joke that that's a rite of passage to be a Jesus witch or a Christian witch or a Christian pagan because that's what happens. But no, it's I've gotten them in real life. I have had family members like tell
Ooh,
me that I was going to die, and
You're in the
yeah.
forest now. Oh my god, dude. Eat my whole ass
let me
and shut
just
up.
tell you
How about
something
that?
right now. No,
What?
now, listen, listen, listen. This is important to know. Not everybody is something that's just come out of the Catholic Church or come out of the evangelical church saying this is what's going on, this is
God.
how God has spoken to me. Some of us have actually practiced at the Wise Academy. Some of us have gone under Belladonna Laveau, the high priestess of Dragon Hills. Some of us have actually gone through and we've done our spiritualism. We've done our demonology. Some of us have actually come through and we have touched hands that should not be touched and we have seen things that should not be seen. Don't tell me that I'm asleep. Don't tell me I don't know what I'm talking about, baby, because let me tell you something. I'm near 40 years old. Don't let this face fool you. It's okay. Not all of us.
Mimi's
Not
pulling
all of us.
seniority here.
Praxis.
I have been living
Maybe
this my whole
probably.
life. It's not just the Christianity. It's not just the church.
Oh,
Okay?
I get you.
It's the whole thing. Now, it's not a matter of, oh my goodness, my skincare routine is called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome.
Stop.
Thank you. Now, if you look, now my lighting's bad, but look, here you go. Here you go. There's my gray. There's my silver. But the idea that Satanism, Luciferianism, these are all aspects of belief, whether it is some, let me tell you, Jesus can be sassy with me, but
Yep.
those things are aspects of the ego and aspects of culture, aspects of learning that are seen through a different lens for what that person needs. There is always a way for spirit to find who it needs to be, whether it's through Zeus, Aphrodite, whether it's through Hades, whether it's through Beelzebub, whether it's through Lucifer, whatever it is, spirit finds a way to make them the person they're supposed to be.
Amen.
Woo!
No, don't worry, guys.
Praise the
I'm
Lord.
moderating
Now it's time
as
for
the
your
comments
altar
come up.
call. No, I'm just kidding.
Because
I
like
give
not
people.
because I've seen my mods in here. Like, are if
I don't
can
even.
they not like
Rolling
block people?
I
commenting.
think that they might just be coming in because it was that Kalish person, and now it was out of the forest. And it's not that we're asleep, you know. Some of us actually do have the occultist training. Some of us do have different aspects, but this is where we are led to be. And it wasn't even God that called me to here. It was actually Mary Magdalene and Anne Regan. So
Hmm.
God's in the
It's
I
back of
not
my
didn't
what?
want
it's
I
not
did not want to come back to God. Let me tell you that much. That was not my idea. But God was like, hey, I'm still here, just so you know.
hello.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I just imagine God with like the apron making bacon, like, hey, come on.
Let's go. Let's
Let's
shake
go.
it.
Well,
It's hard.
that's what
It's
Jesus
hard to get
did.
through this with
Like
the
I'm doing
religious
my
trauma.
witchcraft. When I was like
Uh,
on this witchcraft journey, and Jesus is like, "Hello, I'm coming with you."
yeah. That was That's Gabriel. Hi, I'm coming with you. No, go away. I don't want you to come back here. Like, Jesus is cool and all, but like, I'm following, I'm doing the Magdalene
You are
study.
intense deities. The minute I learned that like Christo-paganism was a thing and that maybe I might be able to incorporate pagan deities into my practice, potentially Ares showed up immediately. He's like, hello. I'm like, I'm not ready. He was like, all right, I'll be back. And when I tell you he was back.
No,
I was gonna say it reminds me of Lena with Loki. How Loki keeps popping up.
That's
that much.
Lena, I love how Loki, you're just like.
He would not leave me alone, and like it got to like the point where like I was dealing with like a lot of chaos in my life, and I was having like a lot of doctor's appointments, and like it was just really getting to be a lot dealing with that. And my TikTok was growing at the same time, like a lot. Like I was like right after literally like almost a month to the day after I got in my car accident was when like my first video on TikTok like did well. And so it was like just some weird timing, and I was like it was like a lot of chaos, and I was like really getting anxious, and I'm like praying to God, like, how do I deal with this? What do I do? And God's like, Lena, sending Loki to you for months to deal with this. Stop fucking coming to me. I don't want to talk to you about this anymore. So he basically like would just shut me down. And eventually it took like, I don't know, I think he started to reach out to me in like December of 2021. And I think I started working him in like June or July of 2022. It took a long time for him to wear me down. Because I didn't want to accept a different deity. Like I didn't want to accept like that I could work with gods outside of the Abrahamic pantheon, because I have like a very, so like for me, working with like the Abrahamic pantheon, not only is it like Christianity, whatever, I'm from like my ancestry is from that region of the world. I'm Palestinian, like, so like that's like the deities that my ancestors worked with. So like for me, it's really hard to be like, to get out of that mindset of like, I just want to work with what my ancestors worked with, whatever. And even like my Italian side, right, where we are from Italy could be traced right back to Israel. It's like absolutely insane the way that all of my roots lead back to this specific area of the world. So it was really hard for me to accept that I could branch out. But what like helped me do that was that my husband's of Norse descent. He's Swedish, and Loki would be one of their gods. So like Loki's coming for my kid who would be working with that god. So who am I to say no to my child's ancestry? You know what I'm saying? Like that's not cool with me. So just because I have to like step into, I think Loki's going to be in my practice forever. Probably not, to be honest. When he grows up, I think he'll probably, leave. Just because I don't feel like such like a pull with him as I do with like other, deities, if that makes sense. But, that's kind of how I like reconciled it in my brain. And I also don't put him before God. Like there's always that like, if God says jump, I'll say how high. If Loki says jump, I'll say why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because Loki always has an ulterior motive.
That's that's part of it,
There's a reason you want. What do you have planned?
Okay, I remember when I first, like, Loki was my very first interview. And that was like...
I remember that one.
You know he had to go first. As soon as I said, should I do Loki? Loki was, like, in my bathroom, like, hey, I already live here. I was like, but like, for me, like, I get these, like, for me, it's very physical, the signs I get. Like, when I talk to God and I'm pulling cards, I literally feel like a physical tingle in my ear as if someone's whispering to me, like, that one. And so, like, that's how I get the readings that I get. But for Loki, it felt like someone was pinching me all across my arms. I was getting pinched up and down, and I'm like, I'm gonna fisticuff empty air. Like, I'm gonna, like, so that was that. But then he started telling me things that God was telling me, and I looked at God, and God's like, you won't listen to me. And I was like,
oh, yeah. And Loki will he'll tell you how it fucking is. When Loki first came into my practice, I had just gotten kicked out of my parents' house. I had just had my shit destroyed, and I just had to move back to college in the middle of summer term and had to get emergency in my dorm because I was going to be homeless. So talk about the most chaotic period you could ever. I was working with the Morgan, and I didn't know that she would be leaving soon, but I knew that Aries was coming soon. Like, because Aries and I had an agreement that we would start working in, like, October, and it was, like, June at that point. So I'm like, the Morgan's here, Aries is coming, I can't do any more gods. And I was like, he's sending me all these spiders. He's like, there were no dreams with him, which was weird because the Morrigan and Ares both came to me in dreams. Loki did not come to me in dreams. He came to me with bugs, and I'm terrified of bugs. So
I realize that
just sending
he gets a kick out of that. He likes
yeah.
the fact that you
So,
don't. Yeah.
and when these were clean dorms, like I had lived in them previously in previous years in school, never found any bugs in these dorms. And flies, massive spiders. I'm living by myself, so I had to take care of these spiders. And it was one of those things where I was like, Loki, I can't work with you right now. I need some time. And he'd be like, okay, okay, okay. And then like a week later, he'd be like, hello. And
Yeah.
I need more time. And he'd be like, okay, okay, that's fine. Take your
It
time.
looks like we got another
Like, hi, I'm
troll.
back. Until finally I was like, okay,
Yeah.
fine.
Loki, it's funny
Whatever.
that Loki is the only one that didn't come to you in a dream, because Loki is the only god that came to me in a dream. But like he came with like the whole. So I had a dream one night. I had a dream where like, have you ever seen Halloween Town like 3, where
Yes.
she's in like that like like dome where all like the like judges of like the Halloween Town are in front of her kind of thing.
Oh no.
Marnie's like standing there. So I was Marnie. I was sitting there, and on one side of this dome is the Abrahamic pantheon, and then on the other side of this dome is the Norse pantheon. And I just see, like they're just like standing over me, and like Thor starts screaming out, "What the fuck are you doing? You're messing up!" At the Abrahamic pantheon, and they're like, "Chill, chill, chill." And Loki's like, "I gotta get in here. What are you doing?" And it's like just that. It was the weirdest, most surreal thing I have ever experienced. I can like still see it. Like,
That sounds like a Norse Abrahamic crossover dream.
It does. It does.
Crazy. I'm like, the only way I can describe it is Halloween Town. I don't know why, but that's exactly how.
Okay, so me are all the Norse gods like a touch, and by a touch I mean like a bucket feral. Like they all
They're
have this
totally
like
feral. They're
like I
the
talked to them and
I'm
I'm
gonna
like,
knock on some wood over here, because I've not had any of the only time I've had any interaction with the Norse pagan and pantheon is one of my dearest, longest good friends. His grandmother told him when he was 2 that he was Odin touched, and continued to hold that over his head, which is basically he's cursed. And I'm like, that's awful. And he's like, yeah, I know. So anyway,
See, now that
whatever.
like at your door tomorrow.
Well, and so I'm like, okay, well, I was like, all right, so why are all these, he's like, no, your ravens are Anne Morrigan. That's just, it's fine. It's fine. You don't have to worry about it. But I have had zero interaction, and I mean zero. And I think it's because since I was a very young child, not only have I had dreams, but I've had different, like my great grandmother with the raven skull and her Bible giving it. And but Anne Morrigan has been on me pretty much. She was just like, this one's mine. This one's mine, right here in the pocket. She came to me as an old kind of like, the warrior side, where she was in the leather armor and she was on her horse. And when I was a child, she would give me small sword. And as I got older, it kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And then finally, she gave me her sword and her shield, and she said, "It's time." And I was like 20 years old at that time, and I'm like, I don't know what this means. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then as I was trying to work through, the having her in my life, as well as like Mary Magdalene and Asherah, I actually had a cold sweat awful like meditation moment where my daughter got creeped out because she accidentally walked in on me meditating, and she said I was like sweating and shivering, but I dreamed I walked through the woods with a raven and a deer. Who's the deer? And they sent me to my little cottage that I always go to when I'm meditating. And instead of it being my mama that I'm talking to, it was a very tall, darkly swathed woman. And she turned around and had the biggest smile, but it was kind of a creepy smile. And I ran to her and I said, "Mama!" And I gave her a big hug. And then when I woke up, like from the meditation, I took the girls out for a walk to kind of clear my head. And there was a big pile of black feathers all on my driveway. And I was like, okay, all right,
damn.
we'll keep going. So she's like,
Damn.
it was basically a don't forget me when you're going to, with Jesus and with Mary and with everybody. You're not forgetting me. I'm coming with you. And I was like, okay, I don't have a choice here.
Fair. Do
So
deities respect your decision if you don't want to work with them? I mean, if you are
It
forceful enough,
depends.
yeah. You
Yes,
It
can.
yes, I
depends.
have a story. I have a story. Okay. So I was venerating the goddess Hold or Holda from my Germanic ancestry. So Frau Bersta and Frau Hold, I was working with them and venerating them for a little while, and I had puppets for them, and I had candles, and the candle would no longer light after Yule. And after Yule, I literally lost their puppets. We just moved into this house. There's still plenty of space. They are nowhere, but their puppets are gone, and I got a very much a thank you for remembering us pull from my tarot deck that was thank you for remembering us, but this is not where your space is right now. And then Anne Marie again in my Darkwood Oracle tarot deck was like, it's me, I'm here. And I'm like, okay. But no, usually when it's sometimes we don't decide. It's not us deciding. They show up
Yeah.
and they show up with signs through nature and they
you
show up with dreams. Sometimes I'm Claire, whatever it's called, with the freaking nose where I
you
can smell things.
Oh, clairalience, yeah.
Yeah.
My
I
husband's
hate
that
it.
way too. He smells like things, and like I
Yes.
remember like every like after his stepdad died, every once in a while he'll be like, I smell Kevin. And I'm
Yep.
like okay, like and this was before
My
I was
mom does that too.
witchy, so I was like,
No,
oh,
my
but
mom did that because my oma passed in December, and like literally a little bit after she passed, my mom was just like, I smell pipe smoke, and like
Yep.
my oma's father smoked a pipe, so it's like oopsie, whole gang's back. My oma would literally bring my opa with her in her suitcase. Like my opa died when my mom was 18, so I never met him. But every time she came, like lights would flicker, the radio would just turn on out of nowhere, like crazy shit would happen. We were in her apartment later in like, a few years later, and my dad watched a picture of him like this just fall right over. Like it was
Yep.
this way and it just went boom. And
what?
so we're just like, okay, hi bud. So Opa's been around
Ew.
forever, but like I would hear big heavy man feet stomping around downstairs. Like it was wild. But someone asked how do you choose your deities, and really it's like
You don't
I want to say
choose.
you choose them, but you really do. Yeah, like
you
my
kind of you can petition deities, like you could reach out to them, like you feel really
Yeah.
drawn to them. You could be like, hey, you wanna
Yeah, but
help
I
me?
feel like if you feel drawn to them, that's because maybe this is woo, but that's because they put that like in you kind of thing.
Probably.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I don't feel like we really get to necessarily choose.
yeah,
Which is
I don't really think
yeah,
so either.
I don't
Like
My
know.
for
I,
me,
I pick Hannah's shop for those candles. If
yeah,
you don't want to do it
but
yourself, go to Hannah's
Oh,
shop.
y'all, Hannah shop for candles.
yes, yes.
What is this? I have Sarah's book and Hannah's candles. You guys,
Hello,
it's Lena.
hello.
I'm a Christian Witch fangirl.
Just
Sarah,
wait. Just wait till this. I was gonna say, just wait till the summertime because I'm gonna be releasing my homeschooling, my Christian witchy homeschooling packets on
Oh,
my
thank
blog
God.
by the end of the summer for next year.
Oh, and hey, Mimi, do you want to say it right here? Do you
I
want to say
do.
it?
Guess who is writing a book? Sarah and I are writing a book for the basic Welcome to Christian Witchcraft. We are
One stop
deconstructing.
shop. Yep.
We are talking about folk practices with a specific nod to the respect for indigenous cultures, because that's very important. We are also going to talk about syncretism, as well as how to put that in practice for you, and also how to be a cheap ass bitch, because sometimes we can't always afford to go and get those $50
Yeah. Oh yeah.
like the wands and all that crystal stuff. Now, don't get me wrong. Like I have so much woo woo over. Hang on, let me see. I'm just gonna try to turtle. I'm gonna turtle my way through. I love
But
this
no, yeah,
bed. But yeah.
it's those kinds of beds are tough, but it's like literally a one-stop shop. Like you open with the scriptural and historical cultural
Yeah.
defense, you go into like here's what spells are kind of thing. So, because you know why? Sometimes people don't want to read 500 pages of Jurgen Moltmann because he's
Yeah.
a dense
Listen,
mofo.
that should be your sainthood right there, honestly, because I read the first page and my ADHD was like, "Bitch, you thought?" Like,
Oh, dude, I love it, but also like, wow, what an
Miss you, Cat.
exercise for the brain. I
I'll be
do
right
want to
back
go
in.
back to the idea of picking gods, though. For me, like everyone else has like a where they left the church and kind of came back. For me, I never left because, like, when I was a kid and I was looking up witchcraft, I love fantasy. I'm a fantasy writer. I wrote a fantasy book. And so, like, when I learned that magic was potentially real as a kid, I was like, hell yeah. But then Wicca made no sense to me. I didn't like it. I wasn't comfortable with it. I didn't want anything to do with it. But at that time, when I was like 10, everything was like, oh, if you're a witch, you're a Wiccan. And I was like, I really, like, that's very nice, but I don't like this at all. So I was like, I want to stay with God. Like, I was just holding on to him. And then I was like, then I looked him in the face and I said, why is this bad? This doesn't make any. Why did you make this bet? This is bullshit. It makes no sense. And God was like, well, guess what? And so, fast forward, here I am. But like, for with me, it's even further back. Like my mom has PCOS, so she had the worst time getting pregnant, and she was like, if I can't, have my own kid, I'm not having a kid. But then she saw Mary's face flash, like the Virgin Mary's face just like flashed for a second, and then boop, she was pregnant. So, oopsie. Yay. That's me. I was handpicked and I'm tired. Like, you picked the most tired soul on earth, God, because I'm dusty and soaked in whiskey.
Amen.
That's such a mood.
I want to address a couple things that I saw. So I saw, is being Wiccan different than being a witch? Yes. Witchcraft is a practice that anyone of any religion or lack thereof, because there's atheist witches, can utilize. Kind of like yoga originates from Hinduism and it can be appropriated, so it should be done with respect. But anyone of any religion can practice yoga. You don't have to be Hindu or Buddhist in order to practice yoga. As long as you do it respectfully, anyone can do it, right? It's the same with witchcraft. Witchcraft is a practice. Wicca is a religion that utilizes witchcraft as the practice. So anyone of any religion or lack thereof can do witchcraft as long as it's done respectfully. As far as, is Christian witchcraft different from witchcraft? That's going to depend on the practitioner. It can be. Some people have a very Catholic-based practice, like they are doing the novenas and the Hail Mary. I don't know the Hail Mary. I don't know how to pray the Rosary. I really don't do, like when you do the cross, is it up, down, left, right, or is it right, left, right? I don't know.
Bless you.
Thank you. Sorry.
No, you're fine. So, and also, we're all Christian witches or Christo-pagans, but all of our practices are so different, which is why, oh, look at the fur babies. That's why we wanted
I told you he's protecting me. He's been sitting by the end of my bed this whole time.
Oh my gosh. Like, a lot of us, I have demons in my space. I don't think these ladies, I know Sarah interviews them, but that's different, excuse me. So
I like them. I think they're cool, but
yeah. So with that being said,
question, real. Oh, sorry.
Just
I
is
get distracted.
witchcraft different than witchcraft? I really think the only thing that makes you a Christian witch, quote unquote, or Jesus witch, or whatever you want to phrase it as, is that Jesus is one of your deities and you view the Bible as another piece of mythology. I have Loki in my space, so I try to read up on Norse mythology, because we don't take mythology literally. We just view it as stories that have morals, and you can take things away from those morals and stories. But the Bible's the same way. If you have Jesus as a deity, then you just read the Bible as part of his mythology. You could argue that Christian paganism is its own religion because we definitely stray from crunchy Christians.
Crunchy Christians?
Don't I listen? But I'm a crunchy mom, so you can't do that.
But you know what
I'm a hippie mom. Damn.
Christians.
It's okay. I feel like you have to be a little bit hippie to be a witchy mom, though, because same. I believe in we believe in a lot of things, but we definitely also believe in convenience dinners.
4 years it's crunchy Lena for real. So
yeah.
I can't relate because I'm just straight freaking Baba Yaga ass. I'm not kidding. I'm just onions, beans. Forget everything else.
Yes.
Potatoes.
And I'm
potato, onion, bean. The end.
Potatoes, and what are the birds doing? That's my thing. What is
I'm here's my black
cycle
and my coffin ring and my mild band obsession that we're not going to talk about, and bones.
I only, on a daily basis, the only protective jewelry I wear is, I have an evil eye on my neck, just as like a visible evil eye in case like but then in case it breaks and I still need some evil eye protection, I got an anklet. I can't put my leg up that far. I'm so sorry. I tried, but I am not flexible. And then the only other thing I have is I have an initial with my husband's name on it, and I use silver as like a protective color, so I usually wear my silver one. I also have a gold one, and then the my wedding bands are even witchy. They're like an ode to my astrology sign. His astrology sign and my astrology sign, because astrology is a real big part of my practice. So I keep that on me. But that's it, because I have kids, okay?
Yeah.
And when I tried to wear jewelry on a consistent basis, we would like get it all snapped, and then crystal beads would be all over Sam's Club. And I was picking them up with an employee one day, and then I'm like, this is not sustainable anymore. I am not wearing jewelry.
I use mine as like I pray over them and I anoint different ones. So I have like this is one that I actually got from she's another creator, a witchy creator, Starlight Amber. This was my black tourmaline bracelet, and anytime I'm doing anything that involves me and my energy being around other people, this is on either this one or my big course one. And then I've got my this is really cool. It's a stamp for a raven, and in Latin the inscription says God feeds the ravens.
Ooh.
So I was like, that's appropriate. And then this one is an essential oil blend, but also it has an inscription written on the inside that I'm not going to show you because it's sigilized over a Bible verse for protection. And I wear this one whenever I need to feel like the extra, because you never know. You never know. So like I don't do an evil eye, but I do have my own like amulet thing with the oils and stuff, which I really love. And then Sarah wrote about lockets, and I have another locket that I also wear every so often. And that one I use if I'm like in deep working on divination and stuff like that, that I need the extra oomph, but I don't need to think about protection. I need to just wear it. So let's see.
All right.
How did
I
miss
feel
all
you.
these comments?
I feel like I don't like wear protection. I don't know why, but for some reason protection never crosses my mind. Like
You're
ever.
Do
I
you
just
fine.
go
wear a
through life
cross,
like dee
Sarah?
dee dee.
Do you
I
wear
mean
a
the
cross,
cross is one
Sarah?
thing. Okay, I'm wearing a bee pendant right now.
That's
Bee.
so
It's a
cute though.
honeybee.
On the
Actually, and this is my
I thought that was
boyfriend's
a
grandmother's
Hazma hand
ring.
this whole time.
No, it's literally just a bee. Did you know? So I'm Slovenian American. 1 in 5 Slovenians are beekeepers. We were the
Interesting.
first beekeeper teachers in Europe. We taught the Austrians how to keep them goddamn bees.
How to get them all drugged up with
That's
that.
right.
That's right. We have a special type of apiary that is better than normal apiaries. So bees.
I
So
believe it.
But
Bees.
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 but yeah, no, when it comes to protection, I'm just like, God'll handle it, and then I just move on.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, I ain't worried.
Someone asked how long until you didn't have to look up tarot anymore. I still have to look up tarot. So what I do, I have the Soulless Divinity Tarot deck. I just picked it up off my shelf. And what it is, this is just a random card. I'm not giving a reading. This is a random card. But it has the meanings on the cards.
Cool.
And
That,
this
this,
is
that's
the tarot
this
deck
deck
that
too.
I do my readings with
Angel
protection.
Tarot's like
Ow.
that. Yeah, Angel Tarot does that a little bit.
Whatchamacallit?
Tarot
This
Taurus.
is the Wandering Star Tarot, and it also has the thing. But whatchamacallit? So my personal favorite tarot deck is the Lightseers Tarot deck. And I, like obviously like I have a general idea of what each of the cards mean, which like you basically if you learn what each of the suits mean, so like, wands are like starting things and joy, and the swords is like mental stuff, and pentacles is physical things, and cups are emotions, and then you do the numerology of it, like 2s are partnerships, 4 is working together, 5s is like dealing with a loss sort of thing, like whatever, so you can ascribe different belief system, or like as long as you know what the number means and the suit means, you could go together like that. Does that make sense? Okay.
Yeah.
But the other thing, so if you want to learn how to read tarot without having to memorize cards, this is what my friend Shea Grillo, she's a tarot reader right here on TikTok, she taught me this, and like it's absolutely fantastic. Ever since I started doing this, I feel like my readings have been a lot more accurate. But what I do is in the beginning of the day, I'll go and I'll grab a tarot card and I'll just look at it. So like I pulled like the 10 of Swords here. I'll just look at it and I'll put it down go live my day, right? And then come back at the end of the day and look at the artwork, look at the themes that are in the card, look at like everything that's being depicted in this, you know, specific card and what I already know about it, and then apply it to my day and apply it to the things that happen to me, so that I build my own like psychic or whatever. What is that? Psychic index or whatever, like about what these cards mean. So that like now when I do a tarot reading for somebody else, like I pull like the Eight of Pentacles, I'm like, oh, you're probably working on some sort of like side hustle or like trying to build something for yourself, like kind of thing. So that is how I would say to learn how to read tarot without looking at the book. Sorry,
Yeah,
that
no,
was
I
long-winded.
agree with that. Yeah, well, for actually, you know what's funny, Lena? The I think that like first of all, a deck that has good artwork is imperative, but
Yeah,
the main deck I've been able to do that with is the one you sent me, is the Universal Fantasy Tarot. The art on that deck, like I don't even have to look at the booklet. You just know what the hell it's talking about when you look at it because it's so detailed in
that
the
was,
art.
it's so funny because I bought that tarot deck at like my local metaphysical shop, and I'm like, yeah, I'll work with this. And the first time I started to shuffle it, it's like, I'm not yours. I need to go to Sarah. And I'm like, what the fuck?
No, yeah,
So
I don't get to use it very often, but when I do it, like it's like I don't
Yeah.
need to look at the book because I'm just like, oh, okay. But
Jasper, come
actually,
on.
you know what?
your
We're not
language.
protecting them enough.
Actually, when I do tarot readings for people, I incorporate like I usually give them the booklet description so that when I give my interpretation, you can see where the hell I got it from. So, because like that's kind of important. It's like I didn't just pull this interpretation out my ass.
That's the
This is kind
Virgo
of
in
where I'm
you.
pulling it because it's like
Right.
three separate cards that mean different things. You got to figure out how they're intertwining. But also, can we talk about Christian spirits because none of them want to play by tarot rules. None of them.
No.
None.
They
Like
don't.
I'll pull a card. And I'm like, why are you like with Saint Nicholas? I'm like, why are you pulling Five of Cups? Right when I asked about like, what do you think about being seen as Santa? Why are you pulling Five of Cups? That doesn't have. Then I looked at the picture and it was literally a bishop being like, and I was like,
Yep.
you just pulled that for the picture, I guess.
Very
Like,
Yeah.
well.
No,
Okay.
they'll do that.
Class in Catholic churches, Catholicism is very visual.
yeah, so that's why I'm just like, y'all don't even pay attention to what the card's supposed to mean. You just pick the
Is she ready for
pictures.
snuggles?
And that's
And
why I
Jesus
feel like
was the
She can
hardest.
come in here.
Jesus did not vibe with a deck for the longest time. It was
Good.
basically God
You got your
saying
bag?
through the light seers for a really long time, and then eventually Jesus was like, "Oh, I want in on that." I'm like, "Oh, okay, thanks."
Baby. Look at the baby.
It's a baby.
That's right. That's right. She's
Well,
getting
it's
sleepy, so
almost
she's
10
coming to
o'clock.
snuggle.
We have been at this for
Yeah.
almost an hour and a half, which is crazy. Thank you so
It
much
doesn't
to
feel like it has
everyone who
been.
tuned in. Why don't we do like a last go around of like where you can find us and other projects that we're working on, and then we'll let the audience know when we're planning on doing this next eventually.
Yeah.
But Sarah, why don't we start with you? Where can we find your other things that you're working on, social media, all that?
Yeah. Well, obviously I'm here on TikTok, but I'm also on Instagram. I occasionally just blab out my ass on Twitter, and I have a Patreon. I've got a whole website too, where you can kind of see like, you can see my work, like things that I've written. I've got obviously my book, but if you go further down that page, there are like short stories and stuff and poems too that I already published that are free to read. And so yeah, if you go to the link in my bio, you'll find everywhere that I am and all the stuff that I do.
I am here on
Speaking of country
TikTok, and if you follow me, you will have 10 fake pages of me follow you as well. I have
Yes.
that.
Same.
If
There
you
was
follow
one that popped in here.
me,
So
you'll
like,
have spirituality backups following you, and they're all fake. So I'm sorry
yeah.
about that. But I have my Instagram linked here. I have my YouTube linked. If you click my link tree, you'll be able to find my Twitter, but I like only talk about Motionless and White on there, so I'm sorry. I do have a Discord server, but it is only for patrons. But even if you're only in like the $1 tier, you have access to it. I have Patreon in the link in my bio.
Okay, buddy.
And if you guys have questions like after the show, Sarah will post this to her channel, but also like leave me comments like, hey, I was in the stream and I have a question. But yeah, the link tree in my bio has all of my stuff, my podcast on stereo, and I'm posting old episodes to YouTube. Those just take a really long time to edit. But I'm on Instagram and Twitter and everything, and block the fake accounts.
Yeah. So if you thought, obviously I'm here on TikTok. I like to do a lot of like dancey type videos, and sometimes I talk. But most of the talking I do is on my podcast called the Jesus Witch Podcast. You can find it by clicking the link in my bio. I have a Patreon where you get like ad-free episodes of the podcast, as well as like other Jesus and Christian witch resources, such as like monthly spells and tarot spreads and readings and all this good stuff. I also have an Etsy shop where you can get tarot readings with me, astrology readings. I also make like Bible-based like oily spells to use like in spell work and whatnot, and they're really fun. And then I have a free
You need
Discord group.
melatonin
If you click the link in my bio, you can find my free Discord group there
for
as
Izzy.
well, and like all
Give
of
her
the things
melatonin.
I have are in the
She gets
bio.
one.
So yeah, that's my stuff. I also
Okay.
have Instagram. If you want to follow me on there, I'd appreciate it. I don't post there that much. I'm trying to get back into posting on Instagram, but like yeah, I need motivation.
So I'm here on TikTok under Feral Southern Housewife. I did a lot on Instagram. I did a lot on Facebook many years ago when this was like Facebook was a thing, and got really too big for my britches, really in a lot of ways. So I was like, no, we're not going to do this. I am trying to get everything back on Instagram, but you know, I had a lot of pictures of my kids and stuff because my family and friends followed me. So I'm trying to decide if I want to get another one. But I'll have a link tree up here soon, and I have the blog that I'm launching for Christian witchy, less super crunchy crazies and more like, hey, this is how we can do this as like hippy dippy witchy mamas for homeschooling and just like general hanging out. And I can't decide if I'm gonna end up doing a podcast like Lena or if I'm just gonna do YouTube again. 'Cause I did YouTube for a little while, so that all depends on how loud my house is. So
Well,
That makes
thank you
sense.
everyone for joining. We will try to do this, every couple weeks, and whenever we do, it will be posted to Sarah's YouTube afterwards. So,
Yeah.
thank you so much to
And
everyone who tuned in.
oh, and
Thank
next
you
time
guys.
we will probably post some videos beforehand. But if you guys want specific Bible stories explained, or you have certain questions that you want to
Yeah.
know, tell us beforehand,
Yeah,
and we'll
please,
talk
yeah.
about all the weird shit that God does, and so on and so forth.
Yep,
All right.
I'm here
All
for it.
right.
thank you for
Thank
setting
you
this
guys
up,
coming by.
Sarah.
Thank you,
Yay,
Sarah.
No, this was a blast.
Sarah.
Go get Sarah's book.
Yay.
Yeah, go get Sarah's
Books,
book.
candles, podcast,
Get a
blog.
text from Jesus with Lena.
Yeah.
Follow
Get a
all
reading
of us.
from Lena and
Okay.
then coming soon because I'm paranoid about people on the internet. Thanks. Like
I mean, mood though. But
A real
all of my
mood.
stuff was in person for so long, so I'm just like,
Oh my gosh.
yeah,
Oh,
no, so it'll be like,
that's scary though, people.
Ugh. All right.
just set
people
up like
on
a
the
turret
internet are
outside your house.
terrifying.
All right.
But yeah, no, it's good to see you all. So we'll see you later. Bye,
Bye.
guys.
Bye. Good night.
Good night, guys. Bye bye.
Bye.
Say bye. Bye. Bye bye.